Okay, first I wanted to tell you that you need to study this very closely because the exam is very similar to this packet. So you're going to have the answers to every single problem through YouTube, and I would just keep studying it over and over again because that will make sure that you do well on the exam. So here we go. Use the figure to find the trigonometric ratio, express the answer, decimal round to the nearest 10,000ths. So what it's asking for is the cosine of b. Alright, and b sitting here, there's your right triangle. So I'm just going to redraw it so it's a little bit bigger. And it gives us a lot of these parts. It gives us dB as 1, gives us CD as 2, and gives us CB as square root of 5. So that's really all you need in this whole diagram. The rest of the parts are really worthless. So to find the cosine of b, it's just asking you to find and set up the ratio. So remember, cosine is ka. We have so, ka, toa. So adjacent over hypotenuse. So the cosine of b, adjacent to b, remember, is right next to, that's 1, over the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is across from the right angle. So I get 1 over radical 5. Now, if this is a multiple choice test, which it is, that's not going to be an answer because we can't have a radical in the bottom. So to rationalize that, we must multiply the top and bottom by radical 5. Radical 5 times radical 5 is 5. And then you just get square root. So you get 5, radical 5 over 5. Okay, this one. We didn't do this per se, angle of elevation, but this isn't that hard of a problem. So basically, all we have to do is think about a person standing here. So that's a great drawing, isn't it? And then we have a bird up there, and it says that the bird is 40 yards lower, or the bird watcher is 40 yards lower than the woodpecker. So basically, that's 40 yards. And then it says the distance from the bird watcher to the woodpecker is 175. And then it says, what is the angle of elevation? Asking for that angle right there. So we need to set up a trig ratio. So since 40 is opposite of x and 175 is the hypotenuse, opposite over hypotenuse is so, or sine. Okay, so we got to set up sine of x. So the sine of x equals 40 over 175. Now when we were looking for the angle, we had to take the inverse of sine 40 over 175. If I do that and I press enter, so I grab our calculator, and you got to make sure it's to the negative first power, 40 over 175, enter, you get 13.2 degrees. And I think, to the nearest degree is good enough. So x is 13 degrees. Okay. Number 39. A ski slope is 250 yards long with a vertical drop of 100. What is the angle of depression of the slope? Alright, so we have someone skiing. Alright, they're at the top of a hill. And it says that that's 250 yards. The vertical drop is 100. There's the ground. Alright, so now what it's asking for, the angle of depression, is actually the same thing as this angle right here. Now technically, if you look up in any textbook, the angle of depression is right there. Okay, but that goes parallel with the line, with the ground. So really, if I just find this angle, I can find these two angles are going to be exactly the same. So if I think about it in terms of this angle, that's opposite, that's hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse is sine. Okay, so if I take the inverse of sine 100 over 250, press enter, I get 23.5, which rounds to 24 degrees. So this is 24 degrees here. Now this would be 66 degrees because that's 90. Alright, so that's another way you could do it if you really wanted to. But that angle of depression is 24. Alright, number 40. Find the exact circumference in the area of the circle. Alright, so first I need to figure out what the diameter is. And if I've given it this is 12, that tick mark tells me that that's 12. I have 2 out of the 3. So 12 squared plus 12 squared should equal c squared, which is the diameter. Okay, so I have a right triangle here. I'm using the Pythagorean theorem. So that's 288 equals c. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So my diameter, which happens to be c in this case, alright, this whole thing is the radical 288. Now, it doesn't say that you have to write it in perfect, it says find the exact circumference in the area of the circle. So, we could leave it like this, but we also could reduce it, because if this is going to be a multiple choice question, it's going to be in reduced form. So if you remember how to reduce this, this is 2 144s, so 2 times 144, and we know that radical 144 is 12, so this is 12 radical 2. So that's a better way to look at that. Alright, so we know that the diameter is 12 radical 2. Now, circumference is 2 pi r, or just diameter times pi. So since the diameter is 12 radical 2, really, for circumference, all I got to do is 12 radical 2 times pi. And what it means by exact is just leaving it like that. Because as soon as I multiply by 3.14 pi, I have a rounded answer. So you're going to see an answer like that. That's the circumference. Area is pi r squared. Again, radius is half of 12. So if diameter is 12 radical 2, radius is half of that, which is 6 rad 2. It's just half of the first part. If I have 12 of them here, half of that is 6 of them. So basically, I do pi times 6 rad 2 squared. Okay, because that is my radius. Now, what I would do to square that, make it easy on yourself. Do 6 rad 2. Now, the hard part about this with your calculator is you have to make sure you close that parentheses again, and you want to square that whole thing, and that's 72. So 6 rad 2 squared is actually 72. So 72 pi is my area. Leave it like that. Okay. I have to make a couple videos here. This is an extremely long video for whatever reason. Okay. So number 41. This should go a little bit quicker. So this is 2x plus 2. Just writing in what I know. This is 9x. And then it says find arc AB. So this is, I'll just call that y. It's asking for this arc right here. Alright, now, the other thing I know about this is that this inscribed angle is 90. How do I know that's 90? Well, its arc is a semicircle. It's 180 degrees. Alright, so half of 180 is 90. So that's the big ticket here, because if you don't see that, you're not going to know that 2x plus 2 plus 9x equals 90. Think about that. How did I know that these two add to 90? Well, inside this triangle adds up to 180. So, the two remaining have to make 90 also. So from here, it should be pretty easy. I have 11 x's. Plus 2 equals 90. Subtract the 2. I have 11x equals 88. So x equals 8. So once I know x is equal to 8, 9 times 8 is 72. And I just plug in 9 times 8. So I know that angle 2 is 72. That's important because now all I have to do is double that to get y. Alright, because remember the relationship between an inscribed angle and its arc. The angle itself is half of the arc, or you could say the arc is twice as much as the angle. Alright, so AB is 144. Arc AB. Okay, number 42. There's a lot going on here. You got to read it carefully. I know that these two are equal. I know that CE, arc CE is 50. BC, now it's asking me for BCE and arc BAE. So one's asking for an angle, BCE, and one's asking for an arc. Now, back to what I know here. Since these two are equal, and this whole arc is a semicircle, 180 degrees, I know each one is 90. That's a pretty big hint there. Alright, so if this is 90, this is 90. Now, I also can look at this. Down here it's a semicircle. It's 180. Well, I know 50, so I know that's 30. So very quickly, I know BAE, the arc, BAE, is 90 plus 130, which is 220. Okay. It's asking for this arc right there. So I just add those two together and I go from there. Now BCE, this angle right here, is just half of the arc that it intercepts. Well, BAE is that arc. So angle BCE is half of that. It's 110. Now there's other ways you could do this. Oh wait, BCE. Yep. There's other ways you could do this. You could look at this this angle right here. The half of this is 45, then half of that is half of 130 is 65, and 65 and 45 make the 110. So there's other ways you can do it. Okay, number 43. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video here because I want to make sure it's not too long, and